Welcome to Tailgate Talk, a weekly NFL podcast hosted by me and some of my friends. Talk about Week 7 football today. Get into the first topic is going to be the last night's game versus the Minnesota Vikings and the San Francisco 49ers. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, all that good stuff. Comment if you have any questions for us. We will answer it. Just leave it down in the comments below. We are without Big, who was a fifth host of this podcast. He just couldn't make it this week. He should be back next week. He is a crucial part, and we do miss him. But the show must go on. Hopefully you guys enjoy. I think the first thing we have to talk about is last night's game. It was something that we didn't expect. I feel like I learned a lot personally about both teams going into it. What did you guys end up learning?
I think I'm still standing by my hot take of the Vikings potentially making it further than we thought they would. The 49ers are supposed to be the best team in the NFL, functioning at high levels, and they allowed the 2-4 Vikings to take over the game and control the ball. Ultimately, I mean, they did start a little bit of a comeback, but it was a struggle fest the entire game with the 49ers. I don't know if they were getting ahead of themselves thinking, oh, this is a 2-4 team or what, but Kirk Cousins and those Minnesota Vikings, they brought it. They ran hard at all levels, whether it was the run game, the pass game. They came ready to play.
No, I agree. But I would say the 49ers offense didn't struggle for most of the game. Whenever they came out, they were driving down the field. We had some costly mistakes in the first quarter that kind of set us down the momentum of the game. But I think who played the worst of the 49ers was our defense. I mean, I'm not going to say our D-line. Our D-line definitely got some pressure, but Kirk Cousins was just
0 sacks.
Was just slicing us up.
Got pressure.
And I think our biggest problem was our secondary was horrendous last night. And I think that's what the 49ers definitely need more work on is their secondary. I think our defensive play calling wasn't great from Steve Wilks. Fred Warner still played amazing. Our linebacking group still played good. Our D-line played all right. But our secondary I think our secondary lost us that game. We were just getting chewed up no Justin Jefferson. Mario Addison was chewing us up. T.J. Hawkinson was having a good game. So, but I think our secondary is what lost the game. And I think our mistakes in the first quarter. And I'm not gonna put a lot of blame on Brock Purdy. I mean, he did kind of choke the game away at the end, but he had a great first 3 quarters with no Trent Williams on a heavy blitzing team of the Vikings. Mm-hmm. So I feel like he had a lot more pressure on him the whole entire game. In the first 3 quarters, he was still delivering the ball with some accuracy down the field, and with no Deebo Samuel. And I feel like he did great the first 3 quarters, and then he just digressed in that fourth quarter. I think the pressure got to him on a primetime game, and with the blitz coming at him, I think that's what. Then he finally choked the ball away, but I think that's why the 49ers lost.
Well, you may not want to throw him under the bus, but I will. Not that he played completely bad. Like you said, most of the time he played fine. But he did have a few key big mistakes, being interceptions. And then the only other thing I really have to say about it was 49ers did it. Yes, they got pressure. Wasn't as much as I expected. Excuse me. But yes, mainly Bosa, but they still got a lot of pressure. Main thing is Kirk Cousins just was throwing his passes very quickly. So yeah, that did help. But yeah,
that's how you beat the pressure.
Mm-hmm. They still got pressure. No sacks though, and then Brock Purdy made a few key mistakes. That's really a lot.
Yeah, in the fourth quarter. That's basically what I told you the fourth quarter is he played bad in the fourth quarter, and that's where he threw the 2 interceptions. So, but I mean, the secondary. I mean, our secondary letting up the passes is what allows Kirk Cousins to throw the ball quick out of the pocket and not get our defense sacks. So I think that's why I said our secondary is what is what was causing, I think, the defense the most trouble.
I mean, I think we're forgetting that Kirk Cousins, at least statistically, is a top 10 quarterback every year. Right? Does he get the credit? Yeah, sometimes. Some people give him credit for it. He does have, he always seems to have great talent around him, which obviously helps. But this week he was without Justin Jefferson, who I think is the best receiver in the league, and I think Jordan Addison, like you said, played well. I think it was other guys that also played great though. Hawkinson had a good game. Powell, do you guys even know who Powell is for the Vikings? Had a good game.
Yep, never heard of him.
Had a good game. I think Kirk was definitely under pressure, but he did get sacked 0 times. I think Kirk, he made a statement. He played. He didn't make a statement.
Kirk Cousins played a phenomenal game last night.
Absolutely.
Don't get me wrong, dude. He played a great game.
Absolutely.
Like he was on top. He looked like Tom Brady out there.
Okay, well, hold on a little second there. No, but I think that this Vikings team is better than what their record shows, and as they get this win, obviously it's going to look a bit better. But I feel like this Vikings team has a chance for the playoffs. Their division is weak outside of the Lions, of course. I think this is a team that could sneak into the playoffs, and I don't know if they're going to go anywhere if they get there. But they're not a bad team. Their record didn't really show what the kind of talent they have. Danielle Hunter is an absolute monster. He leads the league in sacks. He also leads the league in tackles for loss. He's a monster. So we talk about guys like T.J. Watt, who is phenomenal. Guys like Myles Garrett, who is phenomenal. Danielle Hunter is the guy that's leading in sacks and tackles for loss. Let's not forget, he is also a game wrecker. He's up there. Their defense is not great, and I was kind of surprised to see Brock Purdy not play so great, especially in the fourth. Obviously, he wasn't bad, like you said. He wasn't bad quarters 1 through 3. He is without Debo. Obviously, the McCaffrey fumble early on didn't help very much. They were driving, and then he fumbled.
Trent Williams too. I mean, he had pressure on him. They're definitely on a team that blitzes as much as the Vikings do.
But we've seen this from Brock Purdy. He's a poised quarterback. He usually does pretty good under pressure. Even on the picks, I wouldn't say it was him rushing. I mean, it was just bad decision making. I don't think that was the pressure getting to him. I think he just was throwing a pass.
No. Yeah, no. I agree. It was definitely. It was. I think the pressure of the game,
Yeah,
making the bad read. It wasn't the pressure of the guys on his back. It was the pressure of I gotta get down the field, and he's a young guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's his second year in the NFL. He hasn't even played a full season as the starter of a team, and I think this is something he'll learn from. I think neither team proved anything, to be honest with me. I don't think either. I think my opinion on the Vikings is the exact same. I think they're a team that it was underrated each week, and I think the Niners, I won't say they're overrated, but I think the Niners have some stuff they need to work out, especially the secondary. I agree with the secondary. Charvarius Ward should not have gotten that ball ripped from him by Jordan Addison, and I guess he got a pick similar like that early on in the game too. But yeah, they were fighting all game, and I thought it was good.
Yeah, I've got to be on the other side of the fence. I think the Vikings prove that they are more than what meets the eye.
Well, and I think that's a fair take, but in my opinion of the Vikings was just different than I think a lot of people's. I think they were being underrated because they were losing games, close games, to teams that maybe they probably should have beat.
Right.
But I think they'll be fine going throughout the year. And like I said, their division is not the greatest. They have the Bears, who obviously, I mean, they got to win, but they're not going to go nowhere. And then they have the Packers, who didn't look too great, and then they had the Lions, who I think the Lions will bounce back after their game. I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit at least. But the Lions will be fine. I think it's really a 2-team race in that division. I think the Lions probably will win it. But the Vikings, depending on their record, depending on the schedule, it could be close. Okay. Well, if you guys don't have anything else to add, would you guys rather talk about the Eagles-Dolphins game, or do you want to go to the Patriots-Bills?
Oh, man. Both games are kind of hot topics.
Mm-hmm. I know. That's why I said which one you want to talk about first.
We'll talk about both of them, so it's just, which one you want to do first. I don't care.
See, Big's not here, which sucks. I know he would probably have a good amount to say about this. But, let's just go to Sunday Night Football. So we talked about Monday Night Football. Let's just go to the other night game in Sunday Night Football. Let's talk about Dolphins and Eagles. I expected the Eagles to win this. I expected them to bounce back after their loss to the Jets. I thought the Dolphins, and there was some reasons why. I thought they would have scored a bit more. I know the Eagles defense is good, especially in that front seven. This is the Dolphins we're talking about here. We're expecting high scoring games every week with them, and this is really the second week
Yes.
this season that they played a good defense, and they haven't really showed up against it. You know what I mean?
So I expected a whole lot more out of Miami. The way that the Eagles played, this is the Eagles team that I believe most people are used to seeing. But despite all that being said, there were a lot of no calls on Philly, where the Dolphins had 10 plus penalties against them for over 100 yards.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's multiple bad face mask calls that that weren't called. There's a play where the linebacker blitzes up the middle and the linebacker clotheslines him like it's WWE. Like there were at least equal amount of called on the Eagles. That I think threw the game away for Miami. I don't know if y'all saw it, but Mike McDaniel actually put together the TikTok video of all the calls that didn't get called.
You got Matt. You got. That's a parody account. You got. That's a parody account.
No, well, whoever it was,
I did see that though.
There's a video. There's a video out there showing a lot of calls that weren't called against the Eagles that I think ultimately decided the favor of that game.
There was definitely it definitely seemed the refs were more favoring the Eagles in that game, but I don't think it's the reason they lost. I mean, it's a 2-score game. Did it help? Yeah, absolutely it helped. But there was definitely some big calls that weren't called, and like Big said before we started recording this, you guys weren't in here. That holding call that wasn't called, that was a sack anyways. So you want him to take the sack away?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, aside from that, but I'm talking about the big calls downfield that should have been DPIs that weren't called. Those were very game-changing calls to be missed. I think if it was a fair game, if the penalties called were fair, I think it's a different outcome. I don't think the Eagles come out on top.
I mean, it would have been fair if Tyreek Hill would have caught that touchdown pass that he dropped. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean,
they even with the penalties, there was opportunities for them to win this game, and they couldn't.
Oh, absolutely, there absolutely were. But on the flip side, if the penalties were fairly called, I don't think you find yourself in a position of, we could have won this game. I think it's a position of, how much do we win this game at that point?
I just don't see it. I don't see it. I think the Eagles have shown that they can stay. They can stay in with good teams. You know what I mean?
I stand by it. I don't think the Eagles are that great according to their record. Now, granted, they played great against the Dolphins when it came to Jalen Hurts' decision making. I mean, I know he had his mistakes, but overall he was moving the ball downfield. There was good route running. I think it's a different outcome if the penalties were fair across the board. If there weren't so many no calls against Philly.
I think it definitely would have been closer. I think absolutely they played a part, but I don't think it's the reason they lost.
But I'm not convinced that I'm not on that train that everybody else is on with everyone saying how great Philly is because I could pull the whole Shannon Sharp thing where I watch the game without the sound on and I use my eyes. They just don't look that good. They really don't. They really don't look that good. But they somehow make it through the end of the game.
They do somehow find a way to make it out the game. I'm the exact same way, but with the Dolphins. I've only really seen them play 2 teams that are really competitive, and they've lost both games. Granted of circumstance. I'm the exact same way with the Dolphins.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. I think there's still a lot to be seen moving forward between the 2 teams. Really by the big 3, 49ers, Dolphins, and Eagles.
That's I don't know if I consider the Dolphins the big 3. The big 3 would probably be the Niners, the Eagles, and the Chiefs. I think that's the big 3, but they're in there. They're in there for teams to watch, absolutely. Elmo, Vince, I don't know if you guys got anything to say on the matter.
Nope, I agreed with you. Penalties, yes. They there were plenty that should have been called that weren't, but again, I agree. Wasn't the reason they lost. The Eagles' comeback really came, halfway through third quarter is when it kind of started. But yeah, the holding call you brought up is what I brought up to Big originally. It was not only talking about Phillips, just to clarify, he was not only double teamed, but Lane Johnson hooked him around the neck completely, and he still got a sack. So, other than that, yeah, I agree with what you said. I don't really have a whole lot to add.
Okay, well then, if Elmo doesn't have anything else to say, I'll go into the next game.
I'll say that a bad officiating has kind of been the going theme this week.
Absolutely,
I think in a couple games,
100%.
But I mean, I feel like bad officiating kind of just taken a hold on the NFL in general.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's just really shined this week.
What do you say?
I don't know what he said, but I agree.
That's why the Colts lost, probably, but I want to go with, unless you really want to talk about that game.
We might. I don't know. We might. I don't know.
That's like Vince laying in bed. Don't tickle me, but if you want to.
I don't know. I wouldn't like it, but I mean, if you do it anyway, I'm not going to say no.
I hope you don't tickle my feet.
Please don't tickle my feet. Don't tickle my feet. Please don't tickle my feet.
Takes the blanket off.
Okay, hold on. So we go from talking about the Dolphins to another AFC East team. The Buffalo Bills, I mean, we said this last week. If they struggle against the Pats, then we'd be worried. Are you guys worried? Because I know I am.
I'm worried. I am absolutely worried.
Oh yeah.
I don't really know what else. I don't know what else to say other than I am worried. They are falling apart before our eyes. They're supposed to be a high-powered team on both sides of the ball, but Mac Jones was out there trying to emulate Tom Brady and just moving that damn ball, and Mac Jones is not that great. I don't know if it has to do with contract disputes with Bill Belichick. So Bill Belichick was trying to prove a point, and they came out this week and he coached how he normally coached, or what? All I know is Josh Allen and those Bills need to figure themselves out.
And I'm going to say this, and you guys might disagree or agree with me. I'm just curious on your take. Are the Buffalo Bills the Dallas Cowboys of the AFC?
As of right now, it appears so.
They always seem like they're going to the Super Bowl. They're going to the Super Bowl, and then they just don't go to the Super Bowl. That's what it kind of feels like to me. They are the Dallas Cowboys of the AFC.
Yeah, I don't really know.
I will say the only difference is, I mean, the Bills usually choke in the playoffs, but at least they win one or two games before they choke. Dallas just chokes on the first game. So I mean, yeah, I guess you could be. They could be the Dallas of the AFC, but I mean, at least they're not the Dallas in the playoffs. I mean, at least they go out in like the championship round.
Yeah, right. At least they can make it that far.
But it's weird. It's like the Bills. It's almost like the Bills play bad, and then the other team goes up, and then they're like, "Oh, team is up by X amount of points. win this challenge." And it's like Josh Allen just turns into a different version of himself and brings the team back. It's almost like they're purposely playing from behind.
It does seem like he has to carry the team, especially these past couple weeks. It seems like he's having to carry the team by himself with Stephon Diggs. It seems like those two are trying to carry the team by themselves. That shouldn't be how it is. That's not going to win you a championship.
But I don't understand what's going on with their defense, where their defense was able to give up that much against the Patriots. Like, sure, the Patriots have a strong run attack. They've got Ramondre and they've got Ezekiel. But aside from that, their aerial attack is not that great.
Mm-hmm.
And Mac Jones was, light shines on a dog's ass someday, right? And I guess the light was shining for Mac Jones because he was hitting the open spots. He was making good reads. He used his legs to extend the play to make an accurate pass. But, these are all easy fundamental things that the Bills have played against in the past. Like the last 2 years, their defense had been the number one defense damn near all year. But this year, it's almost like you can take a high school team up against them and convert. I don't understand.
Well, obviously there's some injuries that do play a part, but even if it's their depth not playing, like it's only one or two starters, I believe. It's not too many guys. Actually, no, I think Matt Milano's out too. They have a couple starters out, but that second guy has to step up, right? That's the talent of your team. If your depth can't play as good as your starter, then you're doing something wrong.
Right, you're in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Like Bill Belichick. This is the fucking National Football League. I don't give a shit who you are. You need to step up.
There you go. And congrats to Bill Belichick for his 300th win as well. We didn't mention it, but that was his 300th win in the NFL. Congrats to Bill Belichick. Yeah, we have to. I mean, congrats to the old man.
My key points. Oh yeah, Mac Jones had by far the best game of the season, which
and the most important thing for him, and I'll let you finish. The most important thing: 0 turnovers.
Divisional game.
That's not that hard to do given every other game we've had so far. But yeah, so Mac Jones, best game of the year so far. And then Josh Allen made some uncharacteristic. Sorry, I struggled to say that, but yeah, he overthrew several key passes that were just uncharacteristic of him. But then again, like Matt referred to, they were down. And then Buffalo kind of came back, scoring, 14 or 17 unanswered points? And the Patriots took the lead again. But yeah, mainly just key points. Mac Jones had the best game of the season so far. And Josh Allen just made throws that you would not expect him to make, kind of like Brock Purdy. They both kind of had some throws that were uncharacteristic.
Uncharacteristic.
Why am I? Yeah, I struggled with that word so much. But yeah, just unnatural for both of them.
I wouldn't say it's quite uncharacteristic. Like it's known that Josh Allen,
he turns the ball over.
That dude's got a freaking cannon. Like that dude can throw the ball from Texas to Canada. Like it's no joke. That dude's got a freaking arm. But he's been known to kind of overthrow a little bit, but his ability to overthrow kind of opens up the receiver a lot more, but I don't know if it's a play calling thing. I don't know if there's like missed calls going on that we're not seeing on the cameras or what. But they just don't look like the team that they've been projected to be.
The Bills just seem to be reverting back to them past selves. They're not running the football very well. They just need to get back to running the football.
Right.
I just want to say this. I gave Mac Jones props for his best game. Douglas, he took his chances and made the most of them. He caught the ball very well. He had a huge punt return.
Who's Douglas? I'm actually. I don't know. Do you know his name?
Wide receiver.
Rasul Douglas?
Yeah, Rasul.
It's not Rasul Douglas. It's not Rasul Douglas. It's not Rasul Douglas. It's not Rasul.
Now. I believe he came over from Philly, or he's played in Philly at one point.
You talking about Rasul Douglas? You're literally talking about Rasul Douglas. No, he's a corner. I don't know. I'm just curious. I don't actually know.
I'm not too familiar with this either.
Because only Douglas I can think of is Harry Douglas. I don't know if you guys remember Harry Douglas. Let me see.
Anyway, yeah, he had a great game receiving. He had a long run or pretty long run, and then a punt return. He literally did everything, whether it was catching, running, or punt returning.
You talking about Frederick Douglass?
I'm gonna look up.
Douglas. Demario Douglas. He's 5'8". Holy crap! He's smaller than big. He was born in 2000. Vince, I'm sure this dude's a rookie.
I mean, 5'8" is a pretty right size for a Patriots receiver. So
yeah, that is true. That is true. I didn't get to watch the game. I didn't watch the game because I honestly expected the Bills to play better. I did.
Mm-hmm.
So that's bad on me for not being able to, for not just watching the game in general, because it is Bill Belichick's 300th win. Maybe I should have watched it just for that sake. But yeah, no, I am hitting the panic button on the Bills because they're just reverting back to the past couple years. And yes, the past couple years have gotten them pretty far in the playoffs, but it's never gotten them to the Super Bowl, and that's where they're trying to go. I brought this up early in the season. They were running the ball well with James Cook, and I don't need James Cook to be a workhorse, 30 carries. I just need him to run a couple more times to relieve Josh Allen a bit, so he didn't have to do it all. It didn't have to be put all on his shoulders, and they're just not doing that these past couple weeks.
Yeah, Douglas had 54 yards.
It does seem like Josh Allen's taking on a whole lot more workload.
I mean, they've kind of lived and died by whether Josh Allen can get it to Diggs or not. That's about it. Gabriel will come up with some catches every now and then, but yeah, it's mainly Diggs.
Well, I'm not worried about them passing. Like I said, they can pass. You have Josh Allen at quarterback. You can pass. Look at Mahomes. Who's Mahomes' top target outside of Travis Kelce? It's Rashee Rice. He's a rookie.
Pacheco?
Maybe Pacheco, but no, Rashee Rice outside of Travis Kelce is there, and he's a rookie. It's his first year, and he's the best receiver they have currently. If you have a super talented quarterback, he can spread it around and get it around. And you have a guy like Diggs who's really good.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm not worried about their pass game. I'm more so worried about their defense and then that run game. Because like you said, Mac Jones has not played good all season, and the Bills' defense just made him look like Tom Brady. Like he did. He looked really good. So I think that's what we need to worry about. It's just that Bills' defense needs to figure something out, even with injuries. You gotta learn to get around that. Every team has injuries on their team. They just somehow focus on getting right.
At this point, Mac Jones is probably just making sure Patriots don't have a bad enough record that they get Onyx,
Probably.
Drake May, or Caleb to replace him. Give him
Trying to save his job.
1 more year. Yeah, try to give himself 1 more year at least.
The thing is, if Mac Jones plays bad the rest of the season, he is gone. Because even if they have like a top 15 pick, like they're 10 to 15, even if they can't get a rookie quarterback, you know how many teams are going to be trading a quarterback to get a rookie quarterback? This is such a loaded quarterback class. Like, you don't understand. There could be legitimately 6 quarterbacks taking in the first round. It is a wild quarterback class.
I know that wasn't even all of them.
And Belichick's known to find dudes in late round and turn them into diamonds.
Maybe not first round guys, but late rounds, absolutely.
Yeah, like second and third round guys. I mean, think about Tom.
That's what I was going to say. Typically not at quarterback, but then again, Tom was their starter for so long. Weren't drafting high overall quarterback. So, yeah, Edelman was late round. Welker was late round. Let's see. I think, Gronk and
Gronk was 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Hopefully I can say this. Aaron Hernandez, they were third and fourth round.
Yeah.
No, so real quick, you guys hitting the panic button on the Bills or what?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
I absolutely
Tell them to keep it up. I have no problem with them sucking. It's all the Patriots going to win the division either way. No, but I like to see the Bills.
Are the Patriots going to break even? You think? I don't think so. I think they're below 500.
I think they have probably 2 more losses than they do wins.
And who knows? Maybe this is the start of them going on a crazy win streak the rest of the season. I'm not in on it. I'm not buying that stock.
I think they break even. I think they break even. Maybe 1 game ahead.
Maybe. Okay.
Because it's great coaching. Belichick. You can't count out Belichick.
I don't know, man. I just think the Bills are on a down right now. The Patriots played up, but I don't see them playing up the rest of the year.
Yeah, I don't know, but I do think that the Patriots will end the season at least 500, maybe 1 game ahead.
I'm thinking
just because Belichick's not afraid to pull the plug on people.
I just don't know if they have the talent to be pulling plugs on starters and then having the bench step up. I don't know. I think they're probably. I'll give them 6 or 7 wins. I think they're a 6 or 7 win team, so just under 500. You're going just slightly over. I think the Bills are the Bills. The Bills that we've seen the first couple of weeks are the Patriots. The Patriots we've seen the first couple of weeks are the Patriots we're going to get going forward.
Not a very good Patriot.
Unless they pull up Vince from the practice squad and do something amazing.
Oh yeah. Hire Vince. He'll give you your social security card.
Put him back there.
Okay, well that's it for
You
that
fix
game.
my knees and give me a bag of chips a day or something to sustain myself off of, I'm down.
Well,
I'm not expensive.
Definitely gonna be feeding you a bag of chips.
Belichick's gonna be, you don't need to eat that, you fucking asshole. Okay, this is the National Football League.
What goes in comes out. I'm not putting that crap in your body. I'm gonna get crap play in return.
You fat piece of fucking shit. This is the National Football League.
Okay, so I'm just going to the next topic as long as you're okay with it.
Yep.
I think the most, maybe besides the Bills and the Patriots game, the most surprising game has to be the Ravens and Lions. Am I biased?
Yes,
100%?
Yes. Oh my God.
Who saw that coming?
Who are the Lions? Where did they go?
They reverted back to
what did Matt say?
old Lions.
Week, they're the best team in the NFC.
Yeah, he did say that. He totally said that.
I jinxed them, I guess. I don't know.
I guess.
The Matt Jinx. Yeah, I said this was going to be a game to watch. It was my game to watch. Maybe a little Ravens bias, but it was my game to watch last week, is what I said last week.
No, I definitely thought it was going to be a good game.
It was a game to watch.
Did I know the Lions were going to get absolutely stomped? No. Had no clue that.
I didn't expect it either. I really didn't. I was going to be a nice, good game.
I expected a good game where the Lions win, honestly.
And that's fair. I think a lot of people did. I think a lot of people took the Lions in this. They're obviously the team on fire right now. The Ravens are a bit shaky, losing games they probably shouldn't. And I think that's an absolute fair take.
But Lamar looked like a freaking quarterback. He didn't look like no damn running back. He hung, what was it, almost 400 yards and 3 touchdowns?
It was 350 something
like
passing.
4 touchdowns and a rushing touchdown.
He did have 4 passing and 1 rushing. I think he had 350 something passing yards, and he ran for like 38. So he almost had a total of 400 scrimmage yards.
Yeah, no, they looked good. They looked good as a whole. Mm-hmm. Their defense was suffocating. Lamar was playing like a top tier quarterback, like a few years ago when the whole hype train was on Lamar. I mean, the Ravens came and they bought it.
Mm-hmm.
I was one of the few. I didn't watch the game, I will say, and then leave it at this. I was one of the few that probably would take the Ravens. I would have guessed they win by no more than 10, though. Win
10's a good win.
35-0.
10's a good win against that Lions team.
Yeah,
we won by 30. We won by 32.
I was gonna say it's not 30 plus. Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that they held the Lions to 10 points.
Mm-hmm.
The Lions they're a high-powered team.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and they had drops. Jared Goff looked like a deer that just learned how to walk. They couldn't get nothing going. The defense wasn't there. The defense was out there just, I don't know, smelling the flowers or something. I don't know what they was doing.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw there was only one player on the lines that played well. Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, well, no, I would say I agree to an extent. He did play well. He did play well, but all his stuff was garbage time. Because damn near the whole second half was garbage time. It was 35-0 in the second half.
It's hard all garbage time. The player look good whenever the opposing team puts in their second and third stringers.
That's what
I said from what I saw after I just said I didn't watch the game. So all I can go off of is stats. That's all I can go off of on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs, he did good against the second team.
I think that I expected to the Ravens defense. I didn't expect them to only allow the Lions to score 6. I didn't expect that. I'm not gonna lie. But this Ravens defense has shown me, a Ravens fan who watches every single game, they are a top tier defense. They can play some of the best offenses and limit them to certain points. I've seen this in and out. One thing I haven't been seeing this year is the offense clicking the way it did. This is the first game where I could say we didn't really turn the ball over. We did have a fumble. Of course, we had a fumble. We always have fumbles. But we were able to click for majority of the game. And that's all I want to see going forward, because I know we can play like this. Or are we going to be blowing teams out like this every week? No. But I know we can be beating teams that maybe people don't expect us to beat. And we have a tough schedule later on the season, and that's where we're going to have to really try to stay consistent and get those wins.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, absolutely. Lamar played great. We've seen him do this. Defense played great. We were able to get pressure on Jared Goff, which was one of the bigger things that I think people were, didn't think we were going to be able to do, and we were able to.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think what else I gotta say? Oh, and we did elect to receive. Usually, when you win the toss, you elect to defer. We actually elected to receive, and I think that was that was momentum. We were to score in that first drive, kind of like show them that we're here. I think that kind of helped a little bit.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, it was definitely surprising. I tuned into the game in the second quarter, and it was already, I think, like 28-0 or 35-0, and I was like, dude, no way. And I was watching Jared Goff just struggle to get the ball down the field, and I was like, is this the same Lions as they were last week or the week before?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Roquan said this. He said this before the game. Well, I think he said this after the game, but he said the Lions haven't faced a defense quite like ours. And maybe he's right. I don't know who the Lions have really played. They're a good team. I'm not going to say they're not a good team. They're absolutely a good team. I just don't know what defense they're facing. I do think they're still an elite offense regardless of the defense they played, so it is a bit surprising with the only 6 points. But yeah, no, I don't know what happened. I really don't.
Just seemed like the Ravens were firing on all cylinders, and the Lions had a couple cylinders missing.
Something like that, yeah. Something like that. I expect the Lions to be fine. I don't think this is a panic mode for the Lions. This is one game against a good team. If this was a bad team and they get blown out like this, then maybe I'll hit the panic button. But no, it's a good team. I think they can still win their division, like I was saying, and I think they'll be fine. And I think if the Ravens can play like this, they can be one of the top dogs in the AFC.
The Ravens looked really good. I think they just need to keep that consistency going with their offense.
That's all we need.
And I think they're definitely one of the top teams in the AFC for sure.
That's the key word, consistency. That's all we need to see.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like it's always something, drops, turnovers. It's always something.
And what?
Yeah.
This was what first game without Lamar doing the F word, fumbling.
We fumbled. It was a handoff fumble.
You did?
It was a handoff fumble. Still a fumble. I actually don't know if it'll go against him though, because technically it was in the running back's gut. He tried to pull it, so this fumble might go on Justice Hill, and it probably is Justice Hill's fault because I think he squeezed a little too early. Obviously, it's a read option. The handoff stuff is complicated, but they might mark it.
Call that on him though.
Yeah, anyway,
They probably will, but me personally, I wouldn't call those on the quarterback.
I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I just need to see this more, and I'm excited for Ravens football. Arizona this week. Let's get it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's it. That's it for the main topic. So if you guys have anything else you want to say, we're only at 45 minutes, which is crazy. Obviously, we want to talk about the week 8 games, but we really haven't talked.
Maybe it's how big in here.
Yeah, big. Apparently, big keeps these run on.
And Matt hasn't mentioned the Texans one time so far.
They're on a bye week. They're on a bye week.
They're on a bye.
They're on a bye week.
I know why, but I have Dalton Schultz in fantasy. I mentioned him because he's on a bye. I know they're on a bye, but I'm just saying that's why.
It's because Big would have had a lot to say about the Eagles, especially after I said that I don't think the Eagles are that good.
They're still the top team in the NFC as far as record-wise goes.
No, yeah, he would cuss you out. He would cuss out your mom, dude.
I'm just trying to see if there's anything massive that I want to bring up.
We talked about the referees being very poor this week. We can talk about the Colts-Browns game due to that.
I don't think any of us want to talk about that game other than you.
What is there to talk about other than Myles Garrett being up his ass the whole game?
Myles Garrett, definitely affected a lot. He had some mistakes. He jumped offsides twice, but yeah. The only big
also
thing
jumped over the whole line of scrimmage and blocked a field goal.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think he made up. I think he made up for the offsides.
He did that too.
Had 2 sacks, 2
that
forced fumbles.
For being offsides, yeah. Our right tackle was out. I don't think it would have made a difference. He would have kicked our starting right tackle's butt too. But Yeah, the why I'm saying the referees is because Cleveland
I saw the
Browns.
fumble play. I saw the fumble play.
Okay. Yeah, the Cleveland Browns had a strip sack and they called it incomplete pass. I was fine with it. But when the same exact thing happened to the Colts in the end zone, they called it a fumble and then the Browns picked it up for 6. I believe it happened one more time after that. So it happens to the Browns quarterback, they called it an incomplete pass. Happens to the Colts twice, same thing. They called it a fumble. And then when the Browns were I want to say like, I'll just say inside the 14-yard line to be safe. They were throwing it. It was an incomplete pass, and there was a super late flag for illegal contact. I put them down at the 1 on first and goal. That should have been third or fourth after that. But yeah, it was just a really late flag on illegal contact where every commentator said, "Oh, that's not pass interference," especially given.
Well, the
And I
ball was
love this
uncatchable.
line. That's what I was going to. I love this line. When anything's like truly uncatchable, everyone nowadays does what? That's truly uncatchable. That's uncatchable even for Calvin Johnson, they said. Everyone refers to him when something's uncatchable.
I'm not gonna really talk about the Browns Colts game because I didn't do any research on the game other than I watched that. Because that's a big thing. I do want to talk about the refs for a brief stint because yeah, they were really really bad. We said this, they're really really bad. And my biggest thing with refs in all sports, this isn't just football, is consistency in calls that they play. You can call a play and then tell us that that's the what the penalty is, but if you're not going to be consistent with the call every single time, then what's the point of?
Don't call it.
Yeah, exactly. What is the point?
That's what my point was. Like, they called it on the Browns, and I said, okay, it's an incomplete pass. I'm cool with that. But when the same exact thing happens 2 other times,
We get you,
fumble.
Vince. We get you. I'm just saying that's
Now,
all I need to see.
What I don't get is why don't the refs do more? When the refs announce, they'll go, "There is no flag on this play" after they throw a flag and they review it.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we see more of that? Like, why can't refs acknowledge that it's a missed call and just kind of own up to it and say, "Never mind, there's no penalty on the play."
Because they don't want to do that.
Because
that would make them look bad.
I think more people would respect that. Be like, hold on, let's double check our work real quick. I think more people would rather see them, look into it further.
Yeah. And do you think refs should be fined for missed calls?
Absolutely.
100%.
I mean, they make good money. So
I absolutely think they should be fined. I mean, if a player can be fined because the ref said X, Y, Z, I think if a ref is officiating poorly, I think they should be fined too. I think they should be held to a standard.
100% agree. They absolutely should be. Because if you're going to call a penalty that can cost the team a game or that can affect the player's career or affect something like that, I agree. I think you should also be held accountable for your actions.
I don't expect it to be fair, but I expect it to be equal.
There we go.
Yeah, no, and if the NFL can go back in the games and pick out footage of players and fine them for it, like I feel like they could definitely do the same thing for refs on missed calls that were blatantly obvious after they reviewed it. So it's not like refs can miss plays like on the fly, like in the heat of the game, like they're gonna miss calls that you can't see if you don't look at it at the jumbotron and whatnot like that. That's all right, but it's those calls that are made after a review of over 5 minutes that is a blatant like no call or not of this. Like I feel like if they still make that call and don't own up to it and say it's a no flag, then I feel like they should be fined for that.
Well, the problem with that is you cannot throw a flag based on a replay. If you did not throw a flag on the play, you cannot throw a flag based on.
That's not what he's saying.
No, but the NFL could go back and they could review those plays and be like, why wasn't this called?
They could review the flag like they reviewed defensive pass interference and whatnot.
Right.
So if they throw a flag for defensive pass interference and they review it and they go, oh, never mind, that's not a defensive pass interference. We've seen it wrong. They can deflag it. They can be like, no, there's no flag on the play. After the review, no flag on the play. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like, they do it. Like, refs will do that. but they just don't do it near as often as they should do.
Yeah.
And I bring that up because and I know that because earlier in college football game I watched through a flag for something, and then after the replay they changed the flag, they changed the penalty to something completely different. And even the commentators were like, "That's not legal. You can't throw a flag based on a replay."
That's not what we're saying necessarily, because
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
calls do get missed. That happens.
Mhm.
We're not asking for
We're
not asking for AI refs, right? We're not asking for robots to ref our games.
No,
Right. You just want to be equal.
Just need consistency.
It's almost not about the calls they miss. I mean, there's some missed calls, but it's most about the calls they call,
right?
That are reviewed and are blatantly not that call they called.
Right.
And I feel like that is the calls that they should take back. I mean, obviously, in the heat of the game, you're going to miss calls. Like, I'm sure they miss a bunch of holding calls and all that.
Every
just
game.
from the play going by, But I mean, obviously they miss calls, but I'm saying the calls they do call and they review, and it turns out to be not the call they seen, because they can see something wrong and throw a flag on it, right? And then they can review it and go, "Oh, never mind. From that angle, it looked like that," So I mean, but if it's obviously not that, then they can take that penalty back.
But I don't see them doing it just because that would also make games much longer. Yeah, that too. But just
but it's making it longer just from the amount of flags they throw anyway.
That's true.
That's true, but say one team gets 10 flags, the other one gets 5. That's 15 flags you now have to review.
Well, you don't.
But they review.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for one, you wouldn't review all of them.
They review all the flags. It's not like they just go defensive pass interference and they just move on. They freaking show it 17 times on the screen.
And some are obviously blatantly obvious, right? Like they'll call those, and those shouldn't really need to be reviewed that much.
Right? Yeah. No. So it's something's like really clear. I mean, there's a lot of penalties they call that are really clear, pass interference and holding and all that.
I'm just saying I don't expect them to do it for several reasons, that being one.
Oh, 100%. They're not going to.
We're not asking the refs to not do their job. I mean, but it's just the questionable calls is the ones we're worrying about. Like the regular calls that are obvious and are right there on the screen, those are the ones, and they call it. Yeah, that makes sense. It's the ones where it's like on that line of if it's this or if it's not, and they call it anyway. And when it's really not clear if it was or if it was a holding or if it was a pass interference or if it was this or that, and they call it and ends up being not later, and it ends up being a questionable call that can cost that team the game or the drive or whatnot.
Right.
Only thing I'd add to it is like we said, that's not going to happen. It should probably, but it's not going to. At that point, though, like you said, if it's not clear or whatever, I'd say in that case it should be like a play. Say you make a call on one play, and they challenge it has to be extremely clear in order to overturn it. If they were to do that with the flag, I think it would be the same thing. If it's not clear, they just leave it. But
yeah, of course. But now we're just getting into hypotheticals. I think we've all kind of said. I think we're all kind of just saying the same thing. I feel like we're just asking for the refs to be better, the NFL to hold them accountable, and we just want consistency. I think that's all we're really just trying to say. Be consistent.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's the final thing. I think I think that's out of the big topics we had the week. Those are the bigger ones. I do want to say congrats to that Bears rookie quarterback for his first career start and ended up getting his first career win. Congrats to him. And then, now we go just hop straight into week 8 matchups. I mean, there's trade deadline is coming up. So if you guys have any hypothetical trades you want to maybe bring up first, because it is trade deadline time.
Well, there's a couple things that Houston should be having their eye on. They should be having their eye on Jerry Jeudy. They should be having their eye on that tackle from New England. And, oh, man, there was one more. Damn it, I can't remember who the third one was.
All I hope is the 49ers trade for a DB at this point. And there has been talks of it from John Lynch, I think, saying something about trading for a DB in the trade deadline. So I guess we'll see.
Oh, Chase Young.
I haven't been able to watch as many Patriots games as I'd like to, so I'll just go to Colts. Main position, whether you trade for or you just sign on free agency. Obviously, free agency you can do at any time, doesn't have to be deadline, but corner, because Flowers, a rookie, has played really well. He's on IR. And then Juju Brandt's our second selection, also a rookie. Played well. He got injured well last game.
I think the Colts are sellers. I don't think they're buyers.
Yeah.
Especially with Gardner Minshew, who didn't play bad. I think they're sellers. They're not going to be buying into getting players.
He cut out. They're not going to be what?
Buyers. They're not going to be getting players, Vince. I think they're going to be sellers. They're going to be selling people off their team, not buying people into their team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but say you have 3 injuries at corner, you basically have to fill that out at that point.
But you don't have to give up. You don't have to give up value to get that, especially if your team's not going to make the playoffs. There's no reason to do that.
That's why I brought up free agency. But
And okay, as far as Ravens go, the only rumors that I've heard is us getting a running back, which I don't want. I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. Derrick Henry becomes a Raven, I'll be happy about it, but I'm not begging for a running back. I think if the Ravens are to make a move, and I don't think they will, is my take. I don't think they're going to make a big time move. I don't think we're going to be getting a star or even like a good player. We might get a depth guy somewhere. But I think that if we were to make a move, the guy that I would like to see get moved here, well, there's 2. There's Danielle Hunter, which is like my dream fantasy scenario. It's not going to happen because I think the Vikings are going to try to win out the rest of the season and play good football. I don't think they're going to be trading players, but Danielle Hunter would be sweet. Like I said, leads the league in sacks, leads the league in tackles for loss.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a player that I think more realistically we could see get moved. He's in the near the Baltimore area. Is Jonathan Allen. I think I seen him with that in that interview. He was just frustrated with the Commanders. He's always losing, talking about always losing. What stops the Ravens from trying to get him and add to their depth on the D line?
Yep.
Phenomenal player. Why not? I think that's the more realistic one. I don't see it happening, but I wouldn't mind seeing Jonathan Allen in a Ravens uniform. Okay, well that's you guys' trade once or whatnot. We can go into the week 8 games. What are you guys looking for? What game you looking forward to?
I'm not even know who plays.
yeah, I'm having to look it up.
Texans and Panthers. We got the 1 and 2 pick facing off against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm sure most of America is expecting the Texans to win and CJ to outperform, but I don't want to discredit Bryce Young by any means or anything of that nature. I want to see a good game out of the 2. I obviously want to see CJ come out on top. I want, all Houston Texans fans were upset when Lovie Smith got that win and made it to where we didn't have the first round pick. But I think we're all happy now that we are not a struggling team with Bryce Young. So I'm really excited to see the outcome of this game.
This was one of the games that I was gonna bring up. And it's not a game necessarily this week that I'm like, oh, this is the game of the week. And I won't be able to watch any of these games because me and Elmo will be in Arizona or in the State Farm Stadium watching the Ravens game. But
that's the one game about the next week. The Ravens and the Cardinals.
That's the game to watch.
I'll be there.
There's not a game.
That's a game I'll watch.
There's not a game necessarily that I'm interested in there, but this is a lot of prove it to me this week. Like there's a lot of teams that I think need to prove it to me. The Bills play the Bucks on Thursday night. Are the Bucks real contenders? Are the Bills real contenders after what we've seen from them? I think the Jaguars and the Steelers keep winning games. How do they keep winning it? Probably TJ Watt. But other than that, I don't know how else they're winning these games. They're playing a Jaguars team that has played much better since the last time we talked about them. One of them teams get to show that they're better. Eagles, Commanders, I don't see too much there. But the Commanders made the Eagles look not so great last time they played. So I wonder if they can do that again. We got the Rams and the Cowboys. Should be an interesting matchup. The Vikings and Packers. Vikings just got that big win on Monday night. Packers just got a loss. They're kind of fighting for number 2 in that division right now. You know, who will be better there? Patriots and Dolphins. Dolphins looking to bounce back. Texans and Panthers was one of the bigger ones because the number 2 pick looked interesting to me.
Well, 1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, and 3, absolutely. The Bengals and the Niners game. You know, the Niners looking for a bounce back game. The Bengals coming off a bye week. You know, this could be a game where the Niners might drop. We'll have to see what the Bengals are after their bye. The Browns and the Seahawks. The Seahawks haven't proven to me that they can beat a good team.
Every game.
No, I'm not. There's just so many good matchups. That's what I'm saying. It's a prove it to me week. There's a lot of teams that need to prove it to me. The Browns and the Seahawks. The Browns have the number 1 defense, or they statistically had the number 1 defense. I don't know if they still do now after the Ravens game because that was crazy. But the Seahawks are a high record team, but I don't know if they beat a team that's good, and I want to see if they can beat a good team, especially a team like the Browns. And I think it's all the bigger ones that I was going to bring up. But yeah, there's so many teams that need to prove something to me. I think we'll have a lot to talk about next week, especially with the trade deadline and all that. So it should be a fun week next week.
Very good week. Yep.
I was going to say some that were, or I was looking at some that are as popularly picked, but you named all 3 because you named like 80% of the games.
I named like 5.
Eagles. It sounded like 8. I'll just put it that way. Anyway, I was going to say Eagles, Commanders because of what happened last time. Jaguars, Steelers, though, because like you said, Steelers, the record seems like it's too good for how they've played.
Oh, it absolutely is.
They have a good record, so do the Jags, and then the Browns and the Seahawks. Elmo, you up?
I'm talking your mouthful.
What?
Telling Dwight don't talk with his mouthful, dude. He's about ready to.
I was waiting. It's a mute button right here. No, like I said, Elmo's not gonna be watching too much football. He'll probably watch Thursday night football and maybe Monday night football. That might be it. Because we're going to the Cardinals game.
I think the 49ers Bengals game is going to be a good game.
It should be.
I think that's the bounce back game for the 49ers after the loss. To see if they can play against. I mean, a supposedly supposed to be good, a good Bengals team that should be playing at a high level. And off a bye week, they might. So
that's what I was saying. There's a lot of games that I think it's going to show us a lot about the rest of the season.